Kaufman! What's up? What up? How are y'all doing today? I am fired up to be here, and I hope you are too. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Kenny Kaufman. The reason that the short fat guy is on stage right now is because I have been where you are and where you want to go. And today I'm going to teach you exactly what I did to get there. Every second that I failed, all the things that I would have done differently, so that you can take that 20 years that it took me in this business and you can shorten that time, because that's what this is all about. First thing I want to do is introduce you to my family. Love everyone up here. If you don't know what your why is, you got to define your why. You got to know why you get up in the morning. And this is my wife of 22 years. I know I don't look that old, but you should see my avatar. I'll show it to you in a second. My wife of 22 years, Melissa. It's my daughter, Destiny, and my brand new granddaughter, 18 months old now. Her name is Shyla. Also our two dogs, Sophie and Maverick. So this is my why. Know your why. The reason I'm up here is I've been in this business for 20 years. Landscape lighting. Exclusively, I started as a landscape lighting guy, started as a technician, grew my way to a business owner, multi-location business owner, had 50 plus employees, and I have career earnings of over $41 million in landscape lighting installation. Anybody else got 41 million in landscape lighting installation in the room? Travis, you'll be there. I do believe in you, buddy. But instead of being up here on the stage for the next 60 minutes and telling you how cool I am, I thought it would be way more impactful to explain to you every failure I had along the way. Everything that stopped me in my tracks, everything that caused me more time in the business, failure, time with my family, money. I'm going to go through every piece of that today so that you don't make the same mistakes that I made. If you talk to anyone who loves me, this is the story they're going to tell you. That highly successful, done a lot of things, give the shirt off your back. That's what the people who love me would tell you. But that's not the real story. And today I'd like to tell you the real story. So, I started my business at 23 years old. And the one thing I want you to get out of this right now is check that chin strap out. That dude sold millions of dollars worth of lights. And if that guy can sell lights, then anyone can sell lights, right? I thought that was funny. At 23 years old, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I was the kind of guy that was forced to learn everything the hard way. The one question no one ever asked me that they should is, why did it take me 20 years to build that business? That's the question that everyone should ask. The answer to that question is, I didn't know what I didn't know. And a lot of you are out here saying the same thing. You just don't know what you don't know. You don't know what skills you actually have to develop to be successful in this business. And I needed to learn how to install lights better. I need to learn how to design lighting better. I need to learn sales and marketing and leadership and finance. And lastly, I need to know what it took to sell this company. I think I skipped that part. I did sell this company last year. I'm no longer in the landscape lighting business, installation business. Now I'm one of the founders of Redwoods Lighting. See a lot of Redwoods Lighting hats in the room. Coolest thing I'm doing now is actually helping, especially young entrepreneurs in this business. And TJ's the other founder. He tells me as long as we sell some lights along the way, I actually get to keep doing that for free. So it's kind of cool. I told you that it took me 20 years to build the business. I want to frame this because I actually believe with everything that I know now, I could build that business again. Last year, we'd have done almost 7 million in landscape lights. We fell short slightly of 7 million. But we'd have done almost 7 million in landscape lights before I sold the company. I think I could rebuild that company in 3 years. In today's environment, with what I know now, fast forwarding everything, I think I could rebuild that business in 3 years. I want you to understand before you leave this room today that that is what's available to you. Absolutely. You're not thinking big enough in this industry. The next 3 years in this industry are the most important 3 years of your life. And the reason I say that is because the market is changing. And the people who grab market share right now will be the leaders of the landscape lighting or lighting industry moving forward. I think I'm going to give you the skills today to be able to achieve that, if you'll let me. Today we're going to go through some life lessons. And outdoor lighting life lesson number 1. You're not as cool as your mom tells you are. That hurts. Hurts me. Right? Pride is the number 1 killer of businesses. And I'm not talking about being proud. I'm talking about pride. Pride is the number 1 killer of growth. It keeps you from asking why, right? It keeps you from learning. You can be proud in your business. You can have no pride. There's no room for pride in your business. We're also going to go through what skills that I had to learn along the way. The first skill I had to learn was installation. I had to learn how to be a good installer. Like if you're going to go stand in front of a client, you better be able to install this product, right? This is the bottom of the barrel, installation. This phase kept me for 4 years because I loved it. I just wanted to be an installer. I wanted to go out there, tell every client I was doing, all the work. I was going to be the guy, put the light in the ground. I was going to be the one trenching. I was going to do everything. I used this as a sales tool, which was absolutely stupid, right? The identity trap in this phase is that you have to be on every job and you've got to be, as the business owner, the perfect installer. None of that is true. Don't get caught in this phase. Craftsmanship is not business mastery. Your job is not to be the best installer on your crew. And you shouldn't wear that as a badge. You should have developed those people on your staff. I loved being the go-to guy. I loved being the best installer on our staff. I was the first one up the ladder, right? That is not your place in the business. And if you put yourself there, you will not grow. I screwed it up for 4 years, so don't do that. Outdoor lighting life lesson number 2. The skill set that pays the bills will not build the empire. If you want to build a bigger business, you need to look past the basics of the business. You cannot be the installer and the marketer and all these things in your business, right? The second skill that I needed to learn along the way, which was a tough one for me as well, I was a talented installer first, was lighting design. And this is something that you'll need to figure out if you want to be great in this business. If you want to compete with the best in this business, you need to be able to speak lighting design. One of the things that I did to learn this, outside of having a mentor that taught me the basic principles of lighting design, was that I did nighttime demos. And nighttime demos, although nighttime demos are the key to learning lighting design, and every new lighting designer needs to learn lighting design through nighttime demos. It's the only way. You get out there, you set the lights up, you play with them. You don't tell the homeowner to come out till you think you got it right? I think you should do a minimum of 30 nighttime demos before ever considering like not doing them. I think about 30 nighttime demos is good. The big trap in this industry, let's go design fundamentals first. Couple things that I want to go through on design fundamentals. The top is very basic. There are two more advanced design principles that I think we all need to go back to class on, and that's layering light. But the second one that everyone has forgotten is absolute restraint. I don't know why this industry has gone to just put the lightest bulb on the house or on the tree or whatever. Lighting restraint, if you want to master lighting design, that's the one thing I'll give you today. Restraint is one of the master lighting design techniques. Ryan's design class is really good if you're part of Landscape Lighting Secrets. That's a great place to start. There's some other programs out there, but nighttime demos and Ryan's lighting design class, extremely beneficial. This part of the business is the one that traps most landscape lighting companies or lighting companies in general. You get stuck into being the artist. I'm a lighting designer guy, right? Everybody's met one of those. They think they're God's gift to landscape lighting. Most of those guys are broke. They never make any money in this business. They get caught in the design trap in this industry. And I'm not telling you don't be a great lighting designer. I'm telling you that you've got to pare your offerings down, and you've got to pare your fixtures down. You've got to pare it all down to a repeatable process. If you're the guy that's using 1,000 different brands, never using the same thing over and over again, you're not going to be able to build a really successful business. You're just not. Does that mean that there will be better lighting designers out there? I will happily admit that there are better lighting designers out there than me. I'm definitely not the best lighting. There are better lighting designers in this room than me. But anybody want to trade careers? Probably not, right? Don't get stuck in the starving artist phase in this business. There are bigger things to worry about. Outdoor lighting life lesson number 3. Creativity builds beauty, but the process builds the business. You've got to build the process of the business. And even lighting design is a process, right? The third skill that I had to learn along the way. At this point, I'm a talented installer. I'm a talented lighting designer. I was really bad at sales. I actually was good at relationships though, so I was kind of getting by. But my closing rate wasn't good enough. I had no process to the sales process, right? Everyone just goes out and wings it on a job site. This is terrible. Like, this is no way to run a company. That's the way I did it. I just showed up, no research, didn't know anything. Showed up to the house, didn't give anything to the client, and just assumed I was going to build a relationship and sell a lighting job. It just wasn't good enough. Sales is a process, not a personality. How many people think you're good enough just to walk on the job site and sell anybody you want to? I'll tell you that my experience in this industry is we're not that good. We're honestly not the best salespeople there are. We got to build a process that makes us better. 10 points matters. If you can increase your close percentage by 10 points, that's a massive, massive thing. And that's why I'm going to teach you a couple tricks today to do that. First thing I want you to do is know your sales identity. The good news is, doesn't matter which one of these are you, all of them work in this industry. There are relationship salespeople. I'm a relationship salesperson. I love building the relationship, knowing people. It's actually not the most effective, believe it or not, of all of them on the board. Fact-based sellers do a great job as well, especially if they'll close their mouth at some point along the way. Problem solvers are good salespeople. Authority-driven. These are all sales types. You have to know which one you are, and you got to play to those strengths. If you don't know which one of those are, which one of these you are, I suggest you figure it out quickly, because it'll help you in your process. If there's nothing else you take from this, take this. Sales in this industry do not start when you knock on the door. The most important time to sell a client is the time between they hang up the phone with your admin and your sales guy knocks on the door. No one uses that time to sell their company. That was my secret that I'm giving to you today. Is while you had dead space with the client, our client had videos of me telling them how awesome we were, tutorials of what was exactly going to go on, jobs that we had completed, and why they should use us. We sold the client. Before we ever knocked on the door, the client had chosen us. Think about how powerful that is. You took the salesmanship out of the sales role. All he had to do was go not screw it up, right? Because the customer had already chosen you to do business with. At that point, price doesn't matter. They've chosen you. Price doesn't matter, right? Use the time between the admin hanging up and actually going to the front door to sell the client. That's when you sell the client. If you're not doing that, you've messed up. So a couple core sales principles. I won't jump into these for too long, but things to kind of live by. You want to educate your client, but don't overwhelm them. You need to say just enough for them to say yes. If you said anything more than that, you've said too much, right? Our job is to push towards the close. The faster you can build rapport on the job site, the better you're going to be. I was fortunate enough to be trained by this guy. If you've ever met someone that just is infectious, when they can step onto the job site and they just build confidence in a client so quickly. You ever met somebody like that? Like, it is unbelievable. They do it with pace, with inflection, with emotion, with eye contact. It's never really what they say, it's how they move and talk. If you can perfect this, you can be dangerous in this business. Like, that's the thing. It's a science. You think you're good, you don't even know what you're doing. You got to become an absolute expert at pace and inflection and the things you say. Practice matters. If you're on job sites winging it, you just wasted $500 obtaining a client. You just threw $500 away because you're winging it on the job site. Solve the problem first. This is something that lighting designers don't do. They walk onto the job site, client tells them what they need, and they decide that I'm the lighting designer, I know best. I'm going to tell the client what they need, not what they want. You can do that only after you solve the problem first. When a client tells you that front step is the most important thing to them, you solve that problem first. Because grandma fell down the steps, whatever. You solve the problem first, then you get to lighting design. Right? Practice every outcome. We already talked about that. Listen more than you talk. especially if you're a relationship, if you're the relationship sales guy, this was a problem for me because I just want to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and the client gets the glazed over look in their eye. Don't be that guy. Shut up. Listen. Solve the problem. Outdoor lighting life lesson number 4. You don't get paid for information. You get paid for confidence. Your goal is not to give them the information, it's to build the confidence to get the sale. Right? My wife just bought a BMW. You think she don't know anything about this BMW? She was confident in the car and the salesperson who got it for us. Right? She knew that she could figure out the rest. She didn't have to listen to the whole sales pitch on every little nook and cranny of the car. Confidence was already built. She believed in the brand. She believed in the person. Didn't matter what they were selling after that. She trusted them to do right. Are you building that kind of rapport with your clients? If you're not, you're messing up. This one hurts because I was not good at marketing. Right? I didn't have a college degree. I never went to college. I didn't know anything about the next 2 topics we're going to talk about. I had to learn all of this the hard way, and most of you are too. Marketing is really important. It cost me years of business. At this point, I'm a great installer. I was a great designer. I was a good salesperson, but I couldn't get the leads through the door. I was sitting on my thumbs. I was the best lighting company in the country, in my mind. But we were doing no revenue because I couldn't get to the door, couldn't get the client to ring the number. I had to dig in and figure this one out. The next 2 things we'll talk about, you can hire these away. But that doesn't mean you don't know anything. You still need to be a subject matter expert in all things in your business, including marketing, including finance, including everything in your business. These are the 2 things I would like you to hire away when you can, right? The outdoor lighting guys always fall into the shotgun market approach, and this causes a deadly cycle of feast, famine, panic, repeat, right? We got business, stop the marketing. No business, start the marketing. Got business, stop marketing. Consistency is actually the most important thing in marketing, right? Inconsistent marketing creates inconsistent income. It's guaranteed. Everybody in this industry is looking for the silver bullet. I've been doing this a long time. Let me just go on and tell you, I ain't found it yet. It does not exist. There is no such thing as a silver bullet in marketing. It does not exist. Stop looking for it. Do want to go through kind of, when I sold the companies last year, what we were doing. If you'll notice, like 90% of what we were doing was digital. I put this on their modern lighting marketing stack for a reason. Because we're in a new marketing age, and digital is king. It's actually blessings in the room. Oh Lord, if you need some help with that kind of stuff, she's amazing. Definitely check her out. I know there's some people in here using her right now. She's awesome. So definitely check her out. You need to hire this away, but you need to know what's going on. Video is king. About 80% of our spend was on digital marketing, and 90% of our effort was on video, producing videos. Probably seeing a few too many videos of me now. Thanks, Will. Google Business Profile. These are the basics. Setting up and optimizing your Google Business Profile matters, right? Video matters. Meta ads, meta organic, SEO, Google ads, Google Maps, retargeting. Everybody knows what retargeting is. All these things are the basics of it. But you got to be doing every one of them. You got to do every one of them well. The next, if I can give you one little scare, everyone's going to look the same in 3 years. The worst lighting company in your market is going to look just as good as you, because AI is changing everything. You got 3 years before our industry catches up. That's my assumption. You got 3 years to build a personal brand. You got 3 years to get it right. Because after that, AI is taking over and everybody's going to look the same. You got 3 years to make your voice heard. You better make the best of it. Those of you that don't do it, catch it at year 3. Don't spend the money on it now, because then you'll be just as good as everybody else. I want to give some real numbers today and some real expectations when I go through some of these finance things. You should be spending 8 to 12% of your total revenue on marketing spend at scale. What I mean by that is, if you're doing $1 million, $2 million, 700,000 maybe, you can drop back down into percentage. If not, you need to be spending, if you're in a growth mode, new company, you need to be spending 6 to 10 grand a month to even get on the page. Honestly, that's what it is. It's an investment. But the truth is, can't dominate a market on a hobby budget. Can't do it. It's pay to play in this instance. There are other ways, but if you want to grow quickly, there's no other way but paid. I hate this guy. Don't be this guy. The guy that says, I don't need any business. All my business comes from referral, and I'm 6 weeks booked out. There is no better way to tell me that you're underperforming your market and your capabilities than to tell me that. I know for a fact, when you say something like that to me, and you say it proud, people say it proud. They wear it like it's important, like it's a badge. All that tells me, and everybody who's been where I am, is that you're underperforming your market, that you could be doing more. You could be doing way more revenue, right? Don't be the guy that says, I don't need to market. I'm a referral-only business. There are no referral-only business in this business. Only guys waiting on the phone to ring when that kind of thing happens. Uh-oh. My bad. Outdoor lighting life lesson number 5. Marketing is a discipline. It's not a campaign. It's a long-term strategy that has to be implemented every day. Your greatest tool is your marketing calendar that shows you the holes in your marketing where you see no marketing going out that day. That means we're generating no leads that day. Right? Use the marketing calendar. At this point, I had developed landscape lighting installation skills. Got it figured out. Check. I had developed design skills. Check. I had developed marketing skills and sales skills. Had things coming through, no problem. The problem was, I was the man for everything. I was doing all the design. I was doing all the sales. I was approving all marketing. Handling all the accounting stuff, right? This was probably the next hardest piece of the business for me, was learning how to let go, and more importantly, learning how to develop people. Once you get out of the day-to-day, you're no longer in the outdoor lighting business. You're in the people development business. Right now, today, I'm in the people development business. I'm no longer in the lighting business, right? The quicker you understand that, the better off you're going to be. If you wear the badge that you're the best person at everything in your business, it's not good. You should want the business to outgrow you. You should want there to be people in your business better than you at it, right? Developing a team will be the next most important thing there is. Like I said, I was the bottleneck. At the end of the day, everything had to go through me, and that is not a good feeling, right? When you understand that you're the reason the business is not growing, that hurts, and that was me. I knew for a fact I was the reason the business wasn't growing. I hadn't developed the people. I wasn't a great leader. I had to understand how to become that. I had to go out and research and figure it out, change the way I think, change the way I talk, right? Couple key pillars in this leadership framework: transparency. Everybody's scared of being transparent with their people. Not me. My management team knew exactly how much money I made. I didn't care. We shared the P&L with anybody, every operations manager up. And my line items in there, exactly what I make. I don't care. There's people in this room that attest for that. If you're transparent with your people on where you're going, what you're doing, the financials, and all of that kind of stuff, you'll be surprised how they'll jump in line with you. They'll believe in you. They understand the numbers better. You can't build people without being transparent. You got to figure that one out. Open communication matters. Setting clear expectations. And then sitting down and talking about the personal growth schedule of those people. It matters, right? You want people to run through a brick wall for you and your company? These are the core skills that it's going to take to get them to do that. I had to learn that hard way. I lost some great people. There's nothing hurts than knowing you got the right person and you screwed it up. And I did that a bunch of times. The 3 key roles that unlock scale in this business, and you hire them in this order: admin, CSR. That is the first key hire in your business. Putting this person to work on the offense is the most important thing you can do in your business. What I mean by that is that person is not hired to answer the phone and book leads. They are on the offense. They're going to get business for you. They're calling on your clients. They're scheduling maintenance plans. They are a revenue generating person. If you don't have those tasks for them, then you're messing up, right? They're not just here to answer the phone. Lead technician is the thing that gets you off the truck. Most of you still on the truck. Hiring a lead technician gets you off the truck. And the most important hire you'll ever make in your business on the operations side is an operations manager. With those 3 people and 1 more technician, you can do over $1 million in sales. You can do probably 1.2, 1.3, especially if you've got some holiday and some sub labor or some holiday labor. Like, that's a small business. When I moved to a new market, I went to a new market with 1 person and 1 person only, and then hired a couple technicians to work with. It only takes 1 solid person to build a great business in any one market. If you're interested in moving to multiple markets, I did that. We had offices in Columbia, South Carolina, 1 in Charleston, 1 in Orlando, and 1 in West Palm Beach, Florida. I went to Florida once a month and went to Columbia and Charleston once a week. I was able to run everything remotely because I had great people in place. I developed those people. I was never able to hire those people and put them in place. That was one failure that I had for sure. I wasn't able, that was never successful for me. I had to develop them within the organization and then move them into that location. So if anybody wants to talk about that or looking at that kind of stuff, come grab me afterwards. Outdoor lighting life lesson number 6. You cannot grow what you won't let go. It's impossible. If you're not willing to delegate it, then it's not going to grow. Guaranteed, there's no way you can do it. This is probably the portion of the business I was the worst at, actually. Finance. I didn't go to college. I grew up poor. Money didn't matter. It was the one thing that helped me in the beginning because I was able to work very cheap, right? For the first probably 6 years of my business, I made like 40 grand a year. And what's funny is I loved it. I thought I was rich because I came from a job where I was making 25 grand a year. I didn't realize what was actually out there and available to me. Finance and KPIs is the one thing that unlocks true freedom in your business. This is the phase of your business where you're no longer building business, you're building an asset. It's a change in the way you think. Business owners look at their business as their identity. It's who they are. It's what they love. Your business is not your identity. Your family and what you produce from the business is your identity. The business is an asset that you build in order to produce the life that you want for your family. It's a totally different mindset. When you put that in perspective and you really dig in deep on it, it changes the way you make decisions in your business. I want to give some real numbers today too, but before we do that, revenue hides problems. At this point in my career, I was probably doing $2 or $3 million a year in landscape lights. I had no clue how much money I was making. I just knew the bills were paid. And every year, at the end of the year, I'd look at the P&L and I'd go, man, we deposited $3 million in the bank account and we made $36,000? This makes no sense whatsoever. Anybody have that problem? Dude, like you don't even know where it went. I was that guy. You have to really focus on this piece of the business at this phase to understand where every dollar goes and how it affects the business. It's hard because it takes time, but more importantly, it takes people. When I stepped back from the business and really started focusing on the finances and what drives the business, what numbers really matter, it changed everything for me because it gave me the capital I needed to go invest in more people and more processes and more territories. It allowed me the freedom to grow a much, much larger opportunity, which was important. When you're doing great revenue, it's so easy to take your eye off the ball and just say, we're making good money. You don't really know. You've got to master this piece of the business. So I want to give you some of the metrics that I looked at every single day in our business. First is weekly sales goals. We always break down our goals into weekly goals, and we adjusted them for seasonality. Every week, our team knew exactly how much money we needed to make that week. And we didn't stop work until we did, or we failed. And either way, on Monday morning, when we had our team meeting, we knew, right? How many of you have a monthly sales goal or a yearly sales goal and haven't broken it down by actual week so that you know every single week what you got to do? It's so important. You may be able to look at long-term goals, but your team needs very short-term goals. And you got to build on those very short-term goals to ever hit the long-term goal. They can't see that far in the future. They are not you. You got to build them very short goal by very short goal by very short goal, rewarding them along the way. And the next thing you know, you turn around and you've developed a sales culture within your business that everybody's invested in and they want to help hit their goals. When you walk in the morning and the next thing you know, everybody's talking, hey, we're $2,000 from goal this week. If you're not hearing that when you walk in the door in the morning, then your team's not invested in the success of your business, and it's your fault because you haven't set that expectation. Very important. Lead to appointment ratio. I don't know what it is about this business, but we don't answer the frickin' phone. Business 101 is answer the phone. If I call your office at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and a call center picks up, you messed up. Every phone call is worth $5,000. And if you don't look at it that way, you're throwing money down the toilet. We were bad. We didn't answer the phone. I didn't need to answer the phone. We were doing a couple $1 million. Till you look at what you wasted. Lead to appointment ratio needs to be above 80%. That means lead comes in, we book an appointment, has to be above 80%. If it's below 80% in your business, you messed up. It's an opportunity in your business to get better. Close rate. Anybody willing to be vulnerable and tell me what your close rate is? You know what your close rate is?
Probably in the 35, 40% range.
I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
The average landscape lighting guys close 25 to 35% of their jobs. The best in my business I've ever seen is 55% close rate. If you're closing higher than that, you're lying to me. Because I've seen it. You ain't closing higher than that. Or if you are, you're pre-qualifying to the point, you're stacking the deck, you're doing whatever, but you're not closing more than 55%. No one's doing it. Understand these numbers because you're only going to improve if you do. You got to know what the number is so you know where you got to go, right? At 35%, you can if you just improved your close rate 10%, man, that is a massive, massive thing. And it's process that does that. Customer acquisition costs. Our cost per lead, our average cost per lead is about $250. That's what we pay to get a lead. Our customer acquisition cost, what we pay for a client, needs to be under $500. You've got to get your marketing to a point where it produces the amount of leads where your customer acquisition cost is below $500. You want to be successful in this business, these are the numbers that matter. How do we track our ops manager to know whether they did a good job or not? We're looking for a revenue per tech hour of $165 or more. What that means is if I've got 100 tech hours that week and we did $10,000, forgive me if my math is wrong, but that's $100 a man hour. You made $100 a man hour. If you made $100 a man hour in this business, you're not in business. Your goal should be $165 per man hour or better. This is how I know whether my management team managed our tech labor well enough last week or not. This is how I know whether our go-backs really affected our profitability. I'm looking at this every single week to know if we managed our labor well last week. So easy. Metrics don't have to be hard. This is a very easy, like 2 numbers, right? How did we do last week? $165 a man hour is what you're shooting for. You're not going to get this early on in your business. You got to get to scale. You got to get to where you're doing good business. And you're not going to do this every week. During Christmas takedowns, we might be at $80 a man hour. We're trying to layer in some revenue so it looks better, but you're Christmas takedown season, right? But averaged out over the year, you want to be about $165 a man hour. Gross margin needs to be at 62% or higher. What's gross margin? It's if I take my job and I take out materials and labor on that specific job The only way we can be profitable in this business is if that number's 62% higher profit, or on the flip side, 38% cost. What's that mean? If you're spending more than 20%, 24% on cost of goods is really what it is. If you're spending more than 24% on cost of goods, you're never going to make money in this business. Real easy way to do that is your fixtures. If you paid $100 for a fixture, you got to charge $500 to install that light. That probably hurts, but that's math. The one thing you're never going to survive in business is math. It just works or it doesn't, right? It's not going to lie to you. It's math. If your cost of goods is more than 24%, then you're never going to make money in this business. Labor rate. Did I go over this? No. Okay. Labor rate needs to be 14% or lower. Total labor rate in this business needs to be 14% or lower. That's tech labor, not overhead labor, office people, ops managers, stuff like that. 14% tech labor. That's how I get to 38% cost on job, and that's how we get to 62% gross margin. Make sense? Easy. You guys are going to do great. Oh, let's go back. Sorry. 20% net margin. That's what we're shooting for in this business. The best I was able to do ever was about 27% net. The most profitable companies I had, 27% net. You're making good money at 27% net. There are companies I've seen do better than that, 30, 35% net. I mean, the business, this business prints cash when you do it right. So if you're sitting there and you're not printing cash, it's okay. You just got to educate yourself. You got to do better. But understanding what's possible will push you to achieve that. I can't stress this enough. Is Dan Plata in the room? No. That sorry joker. He went to Mexico without me? Dang. Hire financial talent before you need it. You don't have time for this. You don't have time that it takes to really dig into the finances of your business. Most of you are doing it at 10 o'clock at night, right? Trying to enter stuff at 10 o'clock. You don't have time. Dan Plata's platform is really good. And he sends you the metrics that you need every month. If you're not using him, he does a great job, and he's really not that expensive. It's at least a start. I was able, fortunately enough, to grow big enough where I could hire a CFO-style talent in our business, a controller with CFO-style talent. But you can't afford that till you do a couple $1 million in revenue. You just can't. But that doesn't mean you ignore it. It means you go find a different way to do it. And Dan Plata is a great one. Plug for Dan Plata. Outdoor lighting life lesson number 7. Hope and a prayer is not a financial strategy. Anybody living on a prayer? The lady earlier got background music when she said something like that. She got Star Wars music. Living on a prayer up here? Oh, there we go. Yeah, all right. Those guys are quick. Hope and a prayer is not a financial strategy. Now everybody's awake. One of the last things we'll go over today that's very important is understanding where you're going with your business and building it to sell. This is part of the industry that's really not doing a good job. Honestly, when you look around, there's not a lot of companies selling for the EBITDA that we should be, or the multiple that we should be. And it's because we kind of grow mom and pop style businesses that don't sell. Honestly, they just don't sell. 70 to 80% of businesses listed for sale never do. I got 200 people in this room right now. That means 100 160 of you, math correct, it means 160 of you, if you don't do something about it now, are not going to sell your business. You'll never have an exit. And that should hurt. Like, that was one of the biggest fears of mine, that I built a 20-year career that was worthless, that I couldn't sell to somebody. You got to build a business that somebody wants, and I'm going to teach you how to do that today. One of the things that I hear often is that, Kenny, I don't need to worry about selling my business. That's so far ahead. If I can tell you a little secret that I haven't told a lot of people, is when I built my business plan in 2025, selling my companies wasn't in that plan. It didn't feel good to sell those businesses. I loved them. I loved what I was doing. Was not in the cards, did not plan to sell the companies. But life happens, and things happen. And because I listened to a podcast about 5 years ago from the guys who wrote the book Built to Sell, I started on a journey to build a company that I knew I could sell anytime I wanted. But it doesn't mean that I didn't love the company. Doesn't mean that I was like planning on exiting at this specific time and I was pulling the wool over all my people's eyes. To be honest with you, I just changed the way I thought. I wanted to build it like I was going to sell it, but I was going to run it like I'll own it forever. That's the mindset that you need to have, even if you're not in a position to sell right now. You got to be prepared to do so. Things happen, right? I was always worried that I built this monster of a company that had to be fed, and then I would die. Like, what's my wife going to do with this? She never worked in the business. That would have been bad. So I needed an exit strategy. I needed to put it in place. I never want to put her in that position. I needed to be ready when the day called, and you do too. One of the largest mistakes, I'll go over a couple of them, but one of the largest mistakes that business owners make is putting all your bullshit, I don't think I'm supposed to say that, transactions into the company to reduce your taxable liability. Don't do it. It makes no sense to kill the cash flow of the company to reduce tax. It's a lie. Rich people don't do this. Only poor people do. And I don't mean you're going to have to pay all your taxes. There are better ways to do this. You should consult a tax strategist. One of the best things I ever did was fire my CPA and hire a tax strategist. They're the go-between between you and the CPA. They set the books, give you ways to reduce taxes without reducing EBITDA, right? Without reducing the valuation of your company. There are ways to save money on taxes. There is a disclaimer here. I am not a tax strategist. Do not take advice from me. But go figure it out. You don't have to steal the money from the company to show profit. You got to show profit at the end of the year. The other very large mistake that happens in this business that affects who you can sell to and how much for is the average landscape lighting or lighting business owner is the talent in the business. No one wants to buy that business when you're the talent. They know the second you leave, so does all your friends and your clients and the people who've worked for the business, right? They're not going to buy the company, or they're going to buy it for pennies on the dollar because you're the talent. and the business doesn't run without you. If you can't go spend a month in Europe tomorrow with no planning, then you're the talent in your business. And it requires you to be there. And it takes time to build that type of business, but you got to build it. You got to start it. So it requires less of you. Doesn't mean you don't love it. Doesn't mean it's not important to you. Our guys used to joke all the time, like, Kenny's on another vacation, I guess. I loved it. Because it just meant that they knew they had it. Didn't bother me at all. One of the things that put me on game was understanding the different levels of buyers in this industry. Knowing who's going to buy your business and setting it up for that specific group is arguably the most important thing you'll ever do. Understanding who's going to buy it. If you sell it to one of us, 2 times EBITDA, 3 times EBITDA, at best. Because we're operators. Most everybody in this room is an operator. You're not an investor. You're looking at the business different. You're trying to build your own income in the company. And those companies, when they sell to those types of people, which happens every day, they sell for less money. Then there's the second strategic buyer. These are Wall Street guys parking cash, right? They're not buying your business to operate it. They're buying your business because they want a return on investment. They see your 27% net and they go, I only need 15 points. If I can park $1 million in this business, $2 million, $3 million in this business and make 15% return and just basically take advantage of some of the growth opportunity, that's huge. You're going to get 5, 7, maybe even 8 times EBITDA in this category. That's the buyer that most of you should be looking for and setting your business up to sell to. That buyer is going to want you to exit and the sales stay the same, operate exactly the same the very next day. Then the Goliath in the room that everybody knows is private equity. The best thing you can do is sell to private equity. Unfortunately, the majority of us will never build our business big enough to do that. Especially today, those companies are looking at 1 to 5 million in EBITDA, meaning profit, per year in order to buy that type of company. But these guys are buying for 15 and 20 times multiples, 20 times earnings. So $1 million EBITDA company could sell for $20 million. These are real numbers. Now, have I ever seen a lighting company do it? Nope, not one. Not even me. I sold to the first group that I told you not to sell to. But I got 4.5 times EBITDA, and I'm happy with my sale. I got to keep all my employees, and I got to keep all my promises. That was important to me. I left some money on the table. It's okay. I'll make it up on the back end. You got to be ready to sell at any moment. You never know what life's going to take. You got to build the business ready to go at all times. Outdoor lighting life lesson number 8. Build the asset, not a job. Most of you are building jobs. Change your mindset. We're building an asset. We're building a tool to give us freedom. When I started this company at 23 years old, I wasn't good enough. Wasn't anywhere close to good enough. I was a poor leader. I was bad at finance. I was bad at marketing. I was bad at everything. And a lot of you are sitting here thinking the same thing. It's okay. There's help. You got to ask for it. You got to go get it. You got to be the type of person that needs it and wants it and is willing to go get it, but it's available to you. What I built is not special. Any of you could do it. I'm not the prettiest, I'm not the smartest, I have no college degree. What I had early on in my life was 2 real skills. Skill number 1 is I was too dumb to quit. You ever have one of those guys? Like just keep coming back? I was that kid, right? The second thing is I work you under the table. I just go to work. Every day, I was going to be the guy running on the job site. Everything I did, I wanted to be the best at. I wouldn't stop until I was. Competition. Every day when I woke up, I went to compete. That was important to me, right? I had ambition. I did not have the skill set to be a great entrepreneur. I had to build those things. I had to change. I had to grow. I had to get uncomfortable. Anybody uncomfortable right now? Get uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. You should feel a little uneasy. I don't sleep. I can't. I got mind stuff going on all the time. It's a sickness, honestly. But it's a sickness that's given my wife and my family a life they never dreamed of. And everybody's capable of that. It took me 20 years to build this company. And I promise you, you can build it in 3. You can do exactly what I did. You can build this company in 3. If you'll get out your own way, if you'll put together the principles I showed you today, you join Landscape Lighting Secrets, you master all the skills required to be great at this business. There are very few masters in this business. You got a great opportunity. There's just not that many people doing it well. I mean, there's a good bit, but not. People think the market is so huge. I'd be willing to bet there's less than 500 quality lighting contractors in the whole U.S. Everybody thinks it's us against us. It's us against them. Right? It's quality contractors versus non-quality contractors. It's not quality contractor versus quality contractor. We got a team together. Grab some more market share. I'll leave you with this today because it means so much to me. When I sold my company last year, I thought the sale was the win. I was looking at that fat check, and I thought it'd make me feel differently. It didn't. I woke up the next day, felt exactly the same. What I didn't realize at that moment is it wasn't the sale that was the win. It was building a man capable of building that type of business that was the win. What I learned along the way, the relationships that I built, that was the win. Worth way more money than was on that check. Perspective matters. Understanding what matters, matters. I am pumped for this industry. I'm telling you, I joke that selling a lighting company right now is probably the dumbest thing you can do the next 10 years in the lighting industry. We are in a bubble that's about to boom. It has never been a better time to be in the outdoor lighting business than right now. Commit to the business. Cut whatever else you're doing. Stop being a firefighter. We got some firefighters in the room. It's time to go do lights, right? This is your message to go do that. That's all I got. Thank you for your time today.
Get up on your feet for Mr. Kenny Kaufman!